What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic. And to say that AI is the new battleground of major companies out there is probably an understatement, as Disney and Comcast and even Warner Brothers had joined in a lawsuit over the usage of their IP being used in AI art generators like Midjourney, Sora, and others. Well, it seems Disney has decided to no longer fight this and just get in on this, as they have made a deal with OpenAI where Disney is going to invest $1 billion into OpenAI and also license out their IP in Sora and other generators by OpenAI. So this is quite a move coming this morning. So we're going to go through this article from The Hollywood Reporter and see what this deal is, and is this a bad look for Disney in no longer fighting AI but seemingly becoming part of it and accepting it and allowing it to be used for their IPs. We're going to talk all about it, give some thoughts here, and see where all this stands. So again, this is The Hollywood Reporter. Disney to invest $1 billion in OpenAI in major deal that boosts Sora in Hollywood. It says, in what may prove to be a milestone move for major Hollywood studios, Disney has decided to partner with OpenAI and invest $1 billion in the Sam Altman-run artificial intelligence juggernaut, as well as ink a licensing deal that will allow users of its AI video creation platform Sora to create clips using iconic characters from Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars franchises. The 3-year deal signals that the studio may look to embrace rather than fight AI. You think, with a $1 billion investment? AI startups that already allow users to infringe on their intellectual property. By this thinking, at least Hollywood companies are able to monetize their IP with lucrative licensing deals rather than see their businesses entirely disrupted with nothing to show for it. Whether that ultimately destabilizes the production and content creation side of the entertainment industry may be the big question. For now, short-form video creation is the deal of the day, and Disney Plus will now allow fan-inspired Sora short-form videos on its platform, a product that studio chief Bob Iger hinted at on a November 13th earnings call. In examples, Disney included images of a fan with a lightsaber in Star Wars garb, another fan surfing on a big wave with Stitch at the edge of the surfboard, and another fan at the starting line of a race next to Pixar vehicle from Cars. The licensed character product launches on Sora, and ChatGPT images will debut in early 2026. So yeah, Bob Iger did hint at this coming, as they did say that they were going to make an AI portion of Disney Plus. And there were a lot of questions at the time about how would this work? Why would you do this? But clearly, I think they're going to be using OpenAI to do that. I don't really know how much of a draw or an advantage it is going to be to have Disney Plus have this Sora content, but they clearly have had something in mind about this, whether or not they're working on a deal with OpenAI or not at the time, but clearly this is becoming part of the thing they already talked about. The move immediately may start to legitimize Sora around the industry, given Disney's brand-cautious approach. It's an about-face from the scorn and hostility that Sora faced upon its October invite-only launch, where Altman's product debuted features like allowing users to create videos using celebrity likenesses, to have them say or do whatever a user liked, before walking back those features after backlash. At the time, all of Hollywood's major talent agencies were particularly vocal about the destructive elements of Sora, and WME, CAA, and UTA signaled that they stood with their clients against the product. WME opted out of all its clients from Sora. CAA called it a, quote, misuse of emerging technology, and UTA called it exploitation, not innovation. The Actors Union, SAG, and AFTRA meanwhile made a one-off deal with OpenAI that appears to serve as a potential model for dealing with star likenesses, putting in place guardrails on the use of Bryan Cranston's voice and likeness after initial wave of user-generated videos appeared. The Disney integration with Sora hypothetically could lead to a new batch of deals with OpenAI to put in place similar guardrails. Technological innovation has continually shaped the evolution of entertainment, bringing with it new ways to create and share great stories with the world, stated Disney CEO Bob Iger in unveiling the deal. The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence marks an important moment for our industry, and through this collaboration with OpenAI, we will thoughtfully and respectfully extend the reach of our storytelling through generative AI while respecting and protecting creators and their works. Bringing together Disney's iconic stories and characters with OpenAI's groundbreaking technology puts imagination and creativity directly into the hands of Disney fans in ways we've never seen before, giving them richer and more personal ways to connect with the Disney characters and stories they love. I think the thing out of that that's going to be really looked upon as is this really what you're doing, is when they say respecting and protecting creators and their works. I'm not sure how you can allow AI to create things on Sora that people request that are having them do things that they initially did not do, and basically cheapening it to where you're going to have a bunch, Pixar and Star Wars and a bunch of stuff that's going to show up on Sora and likely other AI places, but also say that you're respecting and protecting the creators. Because unless the creators are getting monetization off of this, which we don't know, they could be, but if they're not getting monetization off of the things that they created that are being used on this, I'm not really sure how you are protecting the creators in this situation. And again, everybody knows what's going on here, but it's also the fact that Disney is not just being open and honest about why they're doing this. I think it would be a better look, but I'll talk more about that in a second. But I think that's the thing a lot of people are going to look at and say, are you really? Or are you just looking to make some money off of something that is basically inevitable at this point? Prior to Disney's move, the biggest studio partnership with an AI firm was arguably Lionsgate's deal with Runway, inked in September of last year. The Disney investment in OpenAI sidesteps the library training question, but puts the studio firmly on the side of seeing AI as a growth opportunity for licensing deals to further monetize its treasure trove of IP. Disney is the global gold standard for storytelling, and we're excited to partner to allow Sora and ChatGPT images to expand the way people create and experience great content, said Sam Altman, co-founder and CEO of OpenAI. This agreement shows how AI companies and creative leaders can work together responsibly to promote innovation that benefits society, respect the importance of creativity, and help works reach vast new audiences. Not really sure how allowing Disney IP to be used for Sora videos, which is probably the definition of AI slop, is going to help promote innovation and benefit society. I'm not really sure how that works. Again, listen, I'm not one of these people that's against AI. Like, I look at it as it's sort of how the internet was when it first popped up. It is inevitably going to continue to transform our society. And, there were a lot of people back in the day with the internet that thought it was a fad, that, this was just going to pass and it wasn't going to do what it eventually ended up doing. So you can make the same argument with AI on some level, using it, learning about it, figuring out ways to implement it that can help, businesses and people be more efficient. I can understand that. But to also make the argument that you're somehow making art better with this, I think is pretty laughable. Like, a lot of this is just fluff that they're going to try and put out here, of course, given I think they're pretty aware of how this is probably going to be received by most people. From a deal-making perspective, the move from Iger reminds of a $1.5 billion equity investment into Epic Games last February to bring Disney characters into Fortnite in a multi-year effort to court audiences where they're at. At the time, Iger described the Epic deal as, quote, an important step when you look at the demographic trends and look at where Gen Alpha and Gen Z and even millennials are spending their time in media. So basically, under Iger's tenure, he's bought a lot of things. You got Pixar, you got Lucasfilm, you got Marvel, then making this investment into Epic Games, and now into OpenAI. Like, this is definitely Bob Iger's MO, and on his way out the door, he's making this deal with OpenAI essentially probably as a way to solidify his legacy on some ways. I'm sure, again, Bob Iger is very aware of AI, and he's involved with another AI startup that uses AI as a way to protect celebrity likenesses in video games. So Bob Iger is definitely pro AI in many ways, or at the very least, he sees it as a way to make money. And obviously making yet another deal like this, putting Disney's IPs into yet another playground, essentially. First it was Fortnite, now it is OpenAI. That's definitely the route they're going in this latest iteration of Bob Iger making deals. Disney's embrace of OpenAI stands in contrast to its blistering lawsuit the studio leveled against its competitor, Midjourney, which it sued in July with Universal, as well as I think Warner Brothers came in there as well, in a suit that described the David Holt-run generative AI firm as a, quote, bottomless pit of plagiarism. Midjourney essentially allowed users to create, say, Darth Vader images based on Disney IP without compensating the studio at all. Now armed with a deal in place with OpenAI Sora, there's a big blueprint for studios to start inking deals with other AI companies. Altman himself has hinted that he's been approached for more IP licensing deals for Sora. In his October 3rd walkback note conceding that he'd give rights holders more granular control over generation of characters, the OpenAI chief has outlined his forecast for deals. We are hearing from a lot of rights holders who are very excited for this new kind of interactive fan fiction, Altman wrote. and think this new kind of engagement will accrue a lot of value to them. And off the heels of this deal that Disney has made with OpenAI, Disney has filed another lawsuit against Google about the infringement of their IPs using Google's AI generation tools. This comes from Variety, and it says Disney accuses Google of using AI to engage in copyright infringement on a massive scale. Disney sends cease and desist letter to internet giant demanding it stop alleged infringement. So you're already seeing, things come out of this OpenAI deal here. They're going after Google because now they're with OpenAI with a licensing deal. AI is the new battleground for companies to figure out how to implement it, how to make things more efficient. You're looking at this. I think most people are going to look at this and they're going to say, like, what is Disney doing? This is this is a bad look for Disney. And I actually agree. I do not think this is a good look for Disney. But I think in many ways, this is inevitable. Like, when you look at this, you can fight AI and all these things. You can do that, but you're probably going to end up losing that battle as your IPs are just going to end up being used. Sure, you can go after individuals, you can keep suing people. But again, you look at Napster and what happened with music. Eventually, these things just became mainstream. They made, streaming deals and music changed. And we're in the midst of kind of seeing that right now. But I think Disney's wording about this is the thing where I don't think this is the best route to go. I think they should just be honest about why they're doing this and basically just saying, listen, this is inevitable. Like, AI is coming in here. We cannot fight this, but what we can do is try to invest into a company, steer AI in a direction that we think is beneficial for artists and creators to where they get, compensation. We try and protect the IPs more. So by being involved in AI, we're actually trying to protect art. And I think there's a legitimate argument there. Ultimately, AI is it's a tool. Same thing with money. Money inherently doesn't have viewpoints or anything about it. Money can be used for good. Money can be used for evil. So there is the argument that, people with good intentions using AI to try and steer it in a positive direction is a very good thing, because if those people just tap out, the only people using it are people that are going to be using it for ulterior motives and things that are going to go against people that want good things out of it. And I think if they were to express that, that would be something that a lot of people would look at and say, I understand where they're coming from here. And then you might have a little bit more goodwill, versus the way this is being viewed is they're trying to sell this as, hey, you can make Sora short videos where Stitch is riding a surfboard, or you can have Iron Man and Darth Vader have coffee together. Now there's going to be all sorts of this crap out here. You're going to have all bunch of AI slop that's licensed by Disney, and who knows what this is going to look like. And I don't know if anybody's really asking for that. It's most people are going to use these things for memes and things of that nature. Whether or not Disney wants to say it openly, they are going to use AI to create animation on some level. They may already be doing it, but it's undoubtedly true. They're going to invest this much money. It's not just for the ability for them to allow you to make Sora shorts. Like, they're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing this because they want the tech. They want the licensing deal with this, and they want to be able to use this to their advantage, which they are going to do. So into the future with AI, Disney is just going to eventually end up morphing more and more into just another company that's using AI and not have their unique place in the marketplace. And that's not a position Disney has been in historically, and they're going to continue to use AI more and more. I mean, there's been all sorts of talks about AI in the theme parks that will undoubtedly cost people jobs. It will cost jobs at Disney into the future. Don't get that mistaken. But there are going to be questions that come out of this. If you create some sort of video on Sora that uses the Disney IP and that gets featured on Disney Plus, is the person that generated it going to get a cut of the revenue? I don't think that they will. I'm sure there will be some sort of agreement that says by using the Disney IPs in Sora, you're unable to monetize them. So in many ways, Disney is going to allow you to use their IPs to create content on Sora that you can't monetize, but when Disney sees it and they like it, they decide to put it on Disney Plus or wherever they use to put it, they will be the ones that will monetize off of it. So in many ways, they're not only monetizing their IPs to be able to be used by these art generators, they're also looking at ways that they can monetize the usage of those art generators using their IPs to make more money, and essentially unleashing an army of people that are creating content that they can then utilize in various ways. But I suppose you could say, on a potential positive note of this will give people the ability to use Disney IPs to potentially make fan movies and stories that might end up being better than what Disney makes. Now, what Disney's reaction to that will be very interesting, because I could see, Star Wars fan films being made using AI that end up being very popular, that potentially more popular than the stuff that Disney's putting out for Star Wars and other properties. And how does Disney contend with that if that does happen? Do they promote that, or do they try and shut that down and basically take those ideas and implement them into movies that they will make? I think that's likely part of this as well, as an idea mining ground of seeing what people create, what is popular amongst people using Disney's IPs, and then using that as a way to create content that people like. So in some ways, you could say that this could have some positive ramifications from it. But obviously, there is the unknown element of all of this and the impending job loss that will happen, and the loss of humans being involved in art and just becoming more and more AI is the real fear out there, and that's a legitimate one out there. AI is just continuing to become part of the everyday life for many people and will eventually become part of all the entertainment that is out there. Not only is Hollywood, reeling from that either Netflix or Paramount is buying Warner Brothers, but also you have this AI portion of all this that is also a threat to Hollywood. So Hollywood has a lot of different battles going on at the same time during a period of time where they probably don't want more battles. But clearly, not only do you have the consolidation of studios, you also have the continual use of AI going into the future. And how will this be used? What will it look like? And how much of the human element will be left in entertainment, I think, is a legitimate question to ask. And whether you like AI or not, it's going to continue to grow. But Disney is looking at this and saying, we might as well get in on this, try and make money, and try and steer this in a direction that we like versus just fighting this, I think is basically what they come to the conclusion on. And probably pretty quickly, we'll see what this ends up looking like. How does this change entertainment the next 5 to 10 years? I think it's definitely going to do that. And we'll see if any other deals that are made by other studios and companies come out of the woodwork. I think you probably are going to see that. And whenever that does happen, we will talk about it on here and let you know about it. But for now, that is going to be it, though, for this video. So if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of theme parks, entertainment, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about Disney becoming an investor in OpenAI and licensing the Disney IP to be used in Sora? And until next time, we will see you later.